Okay, picture this. New York City, October 6, 2025. The air is just buzzing, right? It's the premiere of Kiss of the Spider-Woman.
Yeah, a huge night. And Jennifer Lopez arrives looking absolutely formidable. I mean, this black Harris Reed gown, it wasn't just a dress, it felt like a statement. Pure art.
Totally. A statement of power, artistry, all that. But honestly, that wasn't even the real headline.
No, not even close. The real shockwave, the thing that made everyone stop. Ben Affleck showing up.
Exactly. Her ex-husband, the divorce was, what, months finalized by then? And bam, there they are. First major public thing together.
The cameras were going crazy. You could almost feel the crowd hold its breath. And right there, it just crystallized, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. The big idea, the thesis of their whole on-again, off-again saga, proven right there under the lights. They function so much better when they're not actually married.
Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join us as we dive into the Hollywood drama, the music industry shakeups, all the viral influencer stuff.
From those red carpet surprises, like this one, to social media blow-ups, we really get into the stories behind all that fame.
And today, yeah, we are unpacking probably the biggest post-split puzzle Hollywood seen in a while. The functional separation of Bennifer.
We're doing a deep dive into that uncomfortable truth, why their second marriage was pretty much, well, doomed from the start.
And how they only seem to find this equilibrium after the divorce papers were signed. It's wild.
Okay, so let's start right there with that premiere. Let's call it the masterclass in functional separation.
Or maybe divorce is equilibrium. That's the spin.
Right. It is definitely a spin, but maybe an accurate one. I mean, you have to remember the divorce was official early 2025.
Right.
So this premiere, with him there as producer, his company, Artists Equity, was behind it. This was like the official launch party for their new dynamic, the non-married dynamic.
And they weren't just, like, being polite. This was a full-on performance, a PR spectacle of look how great we're doing.
Oh, absolutely meticulous.
Yeah.
Affleck told Entertainment Tonight something like, he wouldn't dream of not being here.
Wow.
Yeah. And he just kept praising her. Her performance was amazing. She was born to play the role. He even said he was as proud of this movie as any I've ever been involved with, framing himself as the ultimate supporter.
And she played her part perfectly, too, giving him credit everywhere. If it wasn't for Ben, the movie wouldn't have gotten made. That was the line.
Exactly. They built this narrative, this airtight story of professional success together.
It's like they wrote a script for how to be divorced and successful in public.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Replace the messy, unwritten rules of marriage with clear, defined roles. They know their lines now.
And the press totally bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. All the reports were like joyful, cordial, and comfortable, all smiles.
Looked like the perfect picture of supportive exes, didn't it? Performing under the best possible conditions.
Okay, here's where the deep dive really starts. Because beneath that shiny surface, what did it actually cost them?
Right. Because when you look at the expert analysis, like body language expert Judy S. James talking to the Daily Mail, you see the effort. She pointed out real signs of inner tension in Affleck.
Inner tension. While he's supposed to be celebrating the swim he produced, what did that look like?
Well, she mentioned staccato, slightly jumpy movements, smiles that maybe didn't quite reach his eyes. And James suggested it wasn't necessarily about, like, romantic tension with Lopez. It was more the strain of the situation itself, managing this high-stakes public appearance under all that scrutiny, which is the exact thing Affleck has always said he hates.
So the tension wasn't the ex-wife, it was the spotlight that comes with being next to the ex-wife, who happens to be J-Lo, the diva superstar package.
Precisely. It feeds right back into that core idea.
Yeah.
Their success now depends on this controlled performance,
Yeah.
on keeping things professional and avoiding the messiness of real shared life.
Which brings us to that messiness. And hey, if you're enjoying digging into these Hollywood twists, uncovering what's really going on, make sure you subscribe to Starscope Report. We've got plenty more stories like this coming up.
Okay, so that tension, that strain Affleck was showing, it really points to something fundamental, doesn't it?
Yeah, it suggests that the roles they had in the marriage, just being husband and wife, were fundamentally clashing with who they are as massive celebrities.
Exactly. The real pressure cooker wasn't just the cameras flashing on the red carpet. It was trying to mash together these two almost mythic celebrity archetypes they embody into one normal marriage.
And we need to talk about those archetypes because sources say that was the corrosive contract, the diva and the cad.
Yeah.
We'll get right into why that pairing in a marriage was apparently impossible.
Yeah, let's unpack that framework, because it really does seem to explain why they work professionally, but couldn't make it work at home. This source called it the pedestrian problem.
The pedestrian problem. Meaning, like, normal everyday life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The argument is that being regular husband and wife is what actually destroyed Bennifer the second time around.
Because they function best when they stick to their established celebrity roles. These archetypes.
That's the theory. You've got, first, the diva superstar. That's Lopez, obviously. Thrives on the spotlight, the glamour, the huge public life. Her documentaries, her albums, and it's all about crafting this epic, cinematic life story for everyone to see.
Defined by the public gaze.
Okay. And then the counterbalance. The roguish cad. That's Affleck. More intellectual, maybe a bit distant, definitely reluctant about the media frenzy, values his privacy.
And the cad part is important, Hal.
Because that distance, that slight elusiveness is part of the allure, right?
Yeah.
He's not totally swallowed up by her world. He maintains a bit of separation. That's key to the dynamic, apparently.
Okay, I see the roles. So how does just being married, the pedestrian stuff, mess that up?
Well, think about it. The daily grind of marriage, shared bills, chores, just being around all the time, it supposedly dismantles those big, shiny personas.
Right, it's hard to be a diva superstar arguing about who takes out the trash. It lowers the pedestal.
Exactly. And for the roguish cad, marriage demands closeness, vulnerability, being possessed in a way. You can't be mysterious and unavailable if you're, negotiating bedtimes for the kids or whatever mundane stuff comes up.
So the very closeness that marriage requires actually erodes the distance that made the cad persona work in their dynamic. It kills the chase.
That's the argument. The required intimacy just dissolves the specific kind of allure he represented to her, and maybe vice versa. They were attracted to the archetypes, maybe, not the reality of folding laundry together.
Wow. So the marriage contract itself was basically incompatible with the things that drew them together. It forced them into these normal roles of husband and wife, which just didn't fit for them together.
And Affleck basically said as much, didn't he, in her documentary, that famous quote.
Oh, yeah, the social media thing. He said, listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media. But then he realized
It's not a fair thing to ask. And then came the killer analogy.
the boat captain one. So good.
It's sort of like you're going to marry a boat captain and you go, well, I don't want the water.
Boom. That just nails it, doesn't it? He knew she needed the public life, the water, for her identity, her brand, everything. And he just couldn't or wouldn't swim in it 24/7.
And so the end wasn't some huge dramatic implosion, no big scandal.
Yeah, no, Affleck himself called it quotidian. Just that slow, inevitable friction, no soap opera, no big intrigue.
Just the daily reality of two fundamentally different approaches to fame and life grinding against each other. It's almost anticlimactic in a way.
We expect fireworks from celebs, right? But maybe sometimes it's just Tuesday night logistics that do them in.
And the really crazy part, this wasn't new. This was history repeating itself, like beat for beat almost.
Seriously. Stick with us, because up next we're putting Bennifer 1.0 and Bennifer 2.0 side by side. You'll see why the sequel, despite all the hype, was kind of always destined to fail.
Okay, let's talk about the cyclical saga and maybe the narrative war. Because the stuff that broke them up this time, it's like direct echoes from the first round. Unresolved issues.
Right, Bennifer 1.0, that was what, 2002 to 2004. And the big villain then was excessive media attention. Lopez even called it the birth of the tabloids.
And Affleck was really vocal about how damaging that was. He talked later about the awful stuff written about Lopez, sexist, racist, ugly, vicious set, I think was his quote. It was brutal.
Yeah, it was. They postponed the wedding in 2003 because of the media frenzy, right?
Yeah.
Then officially split in early 2004. Lopez called it her biggest heartbreak at the time.
So flash forward 17 years, they get back together in 2021. Bennifer 2.0 arrives, and it's sold as this like fairy tale redemption arc. Second chances, we're older, wiser, we can handle the pressure now.
Yeah, that was a narrative. But it seems like they just papered over the original cracks, because that core conflict about public versus private life, it popped right back up.
Almost immediately, it seems. And sure enough, Lopez filed for divorce August 20th, 2024, right on their second wedding anniversary. Ouch.
Wow. Talk about sending a message.
The lesson seems pretty stark, right? 17 years didn't change their fundamental natures or how differently they need to navigate fame. The core incompatibility was still there.
But even now, post-divorce, they're still managing the story, actively co-authoring it, you could say, but using totally different strategies, which leads to this narrative war.
Totally. You see Lopez as the auteur, right? Using her music, this is me, that now, her documentaries, which she self-financed, remember to frame their love story in these grand, epic, almost mythical terms, She's building the legend.
She needs it to be a great love story, capital G, capital L, capital S.
Exactly. It's a production. And then you have Affleck as the reluctant narrator, popping up in interviews, providing the counterpoint, insisting the reality was quotidian, downplaying the drama, trying to anchor her big cinematic vision in something quieter, more real, maybe?
Her grand public creation versus his quiet reality. That push and pull.
That is the conflict. That fundamental difference in how they need to process and present their relationship, that's the very thing that made the marriage impossible. They couldn't even agree on the story's genre, let alone the plot points.
Which brings us back to the premiere and why this professional thing works. The divorce wasn't just an ending. It sounds like it was a necessary realignment, a strategic pivot.
It let them shift the narrative away from messy love and onto the safer ground of work and art.
And Lopez saying the divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me because it helped me grow.
It takes on a different light, doesn't it? Maybe the growth was realizing the only sustainable model for them is this: professional partners, mutual admirers, collaborating on the world stage.
Playing the defined roles of diva and producer, where they can appreciate each other from a safe distance.
Exactly. Controlled, managed, professional.
Okay, if figuring out these complex Hollywood dynamics, getting past the headlines, if that's your kind of deep dive, definitely hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what we unpack next.
So what we're seeing with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, it's kind of groundbreaking in a weird Hollywood way, an unconventional bond.
Yeah, one that basically admits traditional marriage just doesn't work for certain kinds of massive celebrity pairings, maybe acknowledges the limitations.
And instead they've found this equilibrium, sustainable maybe, through professional collaboration, mutual respect, but keeping that crucial distance.
They failed as husband and wife version 2.0, but as co-protagonists in this ongoing Hollywood drama, they seem to be succeeding. Brilliantly, even.
Which leaves a pretty interesting question for you to think about, doesn't it?
In a world completely saturated by celebrity narratives, by the constant performance, are these high-profile relationships basically doomed the second they try to stop being a performance and ever really become, just real life?
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.